My name is Pamela Edmonds, and I am an independent curator. I've been curating for, I'd say, the last 15 years or so. And really my practice deals with issues of identity and the politics of representation. I didn't start off wanting to be a curator necessarily. I started off as studying visual art in the late 1990s, and I really got politically motivated by the times. There was a lot of discussion around post-colonialism and post-modernity, and I was reading a lot of theory related to Stuart Hall and Paul Gilroy and Kadena Mercer. And I really started to think about my own practice and the lack of Canadian representation within the idea of the Black Atlantic and within Canadian art history. So I kind of decided I wanted to go more into seeing the kind of shows and creating the kind of shows that I wanted to see as an artist. So once I graduated, I decided to move back to Halifax because I needed to move back in with my folks because I didn't know what I was going to do. My family background is African Nova Scotian. My parents and my family has been there for generations. And it's a really strong and unique community, and I was inspired by what I was seeing happening there through the Black Artists Network. I had a position at the Black Cultural Center, and I was really driven to start to create exhibitions. And really what I was interested in was the idea of kind of deconstruction and looking at how ideas around nationhood and race and gender came together, and how artists were working to kind of find strategies to question those things. And so I started to create exhibitions, and what I'm going to talk about is really the last series of shows that I've worked on. So how do I do this here? And sorry, I tried to stick to the 5 slides, so I kind of created these little collages. And so the images are not really as great as I would like them to be, but so bear with me. And I just wanted to say also that my thesis was dealing with issues around Black identity, and I looked at a series of exhibitions that happened over a decade between 1992 and 2002. And it was really what I call a critical decade, in that there was a lot of Black-themed exhibitions at the time, spurred in part by Kambaya and the Diasporic African Women's Collective, who did a traveling show of Black women's art that traveled across the country, Black Artists Network as well. And like I was saying, I was really interested in the Canadian presence within the Black Atlantic and trying to find artists that I found worked along similar lines of contemporary artists that were theorized within this idea of the Black Atlantic, which was one of Paul Gilroy's theories about how Black artists and Black marginity has always been present, it just hasn't been theorized. And he offers this idea of an alternative modernity. So this exhibition, well, actually it was an open studio exhibition I did in London in the UK, was part of this exploration, I would say. It's part of the ideas I was looking at as part of Third Space Arts Projects, which is a curatorial collective I work with Sally Frater on. And really what we're interested in is kind of producing an international perspective within Black diasporic art and Black identity. So this exhibition, which was called Serious Play, brought together Canadian artists and UK-based artists to look at this idea of rhetoric and signifying, as Henry Louis Gates talks about, how artists And, well, he talks about it in terms of writers, but they kind of signify and play off and riff off of dominant culture and find their own ways to insert an identity through that. So this exhibition was kind of, it gave me an idea, a chance to kind of explore some of those themes that I was talking about, and some of the artists, like Sandra Brewster, and Stephen Fakiesi was in that exhibition, Grace Nadira too, and Leo Asimono. And it was just an interesting opportunity that allowed me to explore those ideas and themes. Camille Turner, Lucy Chan, Kareem Buchanan. And I also wanted to say that through Third Space we've been able to support artists. We're actually a supporter for the Ontario Arts Council's Exhibition Assistance Program. We provide support to African Canadian artists through that program. And it's really important for me and my work to support a transatlantic dialogue. And I'm really interested in allowing that to unfold. And just some of the more recent projects is an exhibition called 28 Days, which was held at 2 venues in Justina Barnke Gallery and Georgia Sherman. And we were interested in our collective at looking at institutionalization of Black History Month and artists that are kind of put into that time and frame consistently. And I have to say that as a curator, I do get a lot of requests to show my work and present at this time, and I kind of resist doing that. But at the same time, in this context, it made sense because we were interrogating that. Let's see here. This was a recent exhibition I did at the Women's Arts Resource Center called Tracings, and it is a work by a Toronto-based women's arts collective called W5, and they're really interested in exploring new media and their concerns as women of diverse immigrant origins. And then this is curatorial research I'm doing for 2 projects. One is called At the Seams, which is explores personal and political narratives through craft-based work. Some artists you might recognize there. And, sorry, the slides are bad. Sugar in the Blood, which is explores the colonial legacy of the sugar trade through various feminine histories, and this includes Canadian artists and artists from the Caribbean and the UK and the US. So really, I just want to end by saying I'm interested in looking at the complex intersections across cultures and histories, and really about remapping those boundaries and how Canada fits into that, Canadian artists fit into that idea. So thank you.